Welcome to this segment of Fortogov. I'm Council Lady Paula Stinnett, and joining me today in this beautiful, pristine environment is Superintendent Brad Bennett. Brad, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Paula.
And this absolutely is a walk in grandeur. There's no doubt. The beautiful visitor center stands behind us, and just majestic trees surrounding us. It is, you work in paradise. I'm so jealous, so jealous. Today, we are going to tell citizens about all the wonderful things going on here in the Chickamauga National Battlefield Park. Tell me, what's going on in September? There's this 101st anniversary. What's this about?
Yeah, well, of course, last year was the sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Chickamauga. So this September we'll be commemorating the 151st, and we have 3 days worth of ranger-guided programs on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. Historian Jim Ogden, who many of you viewers are familiar with, will be leading several of those programs, starting with, I think you have it in front of you there.
I do, the night attack.
Right, so
wow.
6:30 to 8:30 p.m. on the eve of the 20th, when the heaviest fighting happened. And then on Saturday the 20th, several programs, morning, afternoon, and evening, and then again continuing onto Sunday with 3 more programs, morning and afternoon. So, and that isn't even the full slate. We'll have a news release out with the other programs that will be happening during that 3-day commemorative period.
Well, and I know Forest Ranger historian Ogden. He enthralled my family when I brought them here earlier this summer. He has so much knowledge to share, and he does it in a manner that keeps people engaged. So that's going to be a very exciting activity. How much does this cost?
Well, it costs nothing.
Nothing?
There's no entrance fee to Chickamauga Battlefield. All of these ranger-guided activities are free. The visitor center and film and exhibits are all free. So it's a nice, affordable opportunity for families to come enjoy their national park and learn about the significant history here.
Wow. Great edutainment for the family, the 101st anniversary here at the park, September 19, 20, and 21, free. Great deal for the family. You offer some other activities, and I like to be outside. I like to do things outside, bike ride, run, and I noticed on September the 20th at 9:30 in the morning, October 18th at 9:30 in the morning, bicycle event here in the park. How does that work? What do you guys do?
Well, simply meet at the visitor center at that time, and once again, it's another opportunity with a ranger who's knowledgeable about the battle action here to get out and experience the battlefield, but in a different way. We've been experimenting, aside from caravan tours and walking tours, with new and innovative ways to experience the national park while again learning about the battles. So we have the ranger guided bicycle trips. We also started this past summer with ranger guided canoe trips on West Chickamauga Creek. That was a great partnership with the Friends of Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park and Outdoor Chattanooga, again right on West Chickamauga Creek. And so we hope to continue these paddling tours, bicycle tours, and other opportunities to experience the park.
Great. Education, multi-venues, and ways. So again, September 20th and October 18th, 9:30 in the morning. Bring your family, bring your bicycles, and enjoy an educational opportunity that's fun, outdoor, and right here in your own backyard. You have developed publications that are impressive, and one of the publications that impressed me is your Chickamauga Battlefield Trail Map. The trail map details hiking, horseback riding, parking, picnicking. This is an amazing map. Tell me a little bit about the map and where our viewers can get one of these.
Well, once again, like all of our things here, that's free, and it can be picked up right across the way at the visitor center here at Chickamauga Battlefield. This, as you said, is a brand new publication this summer. Very detailed map, lets you know the distance between point A and point B. And with over 80 miles of trails in this national park, there's so many ways and places to explore.
Well, 80 miles. I can definitely see this is a large park, large area. What is the area of the park, Brad?
Well, Chickamauga Battlefield by itself is over 5,000 acres. And if you add in the rest of the national park up in Tennessee, on the slopes of Lookout Mountain, Point Park, Signal Point to Orchard Knob, Moccasin Bend to Missionary Ridge, that's an additional 4,000 acres. So in total, Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park is over 9,000 acres in 2 states.
I've lived here all my life. No wonder I haven't been able to find green eyes. He has so many places to hide here. All these park trails, all these locations, monuments, trees, wildlife, how can the park rangers maintain everything?
Well, we're very fortunate to have strong support from many volunteers. And we certainly, with the small number of park staff, maintain all of those trails by ourselves. So we are very thankful that many volunteers from the area, individuals and groups, help us maintain those trails. Volunteerism is a great way to give back to the national park, particularly for those who enjoy and use the national park on a regular basis. There's many ways to support the National Park Service, certainly by donating time through the Friends of the Park. You could also donate money, and philanthropy is important. Outside of our base budget, the Friends of the Park help raise money to allow us to do these new programs like the canoe trips and some of these other bicycle programs. They help us with new programs and new projects. So again, volunteering time or treasure is a great way to support the national parks.
It seems like I remember something about you being a volunteer once upon a time.
Well, that's how I got my start 23 years ago. I was fortunate growing up that my parents took me and my sister and brother to experience national parks. And I remember in middle school thinking, gosh, I might want to be a park ranger someday. And I remembered that idea after school and said, how can I get my foot in the door? How can I get some experience working in a national park to see if that's something I really would like to do for a career? And so indeed, 23 years ago, I volunteered for 3 months, working side by side with the park rangers, gained enough experience, confirmed that yes, I would like to keep doing this. And long story short, here I am today.
Wow, from volunteer to superintendent, quite a step, 23 years, and it all came from a parent vacation, going into parks, visiting the parks, and I bet your parents are very proud of you now. I know I would be. How can someone volunteer here?
Well, there's a couple ways. You could certainly ask at the visitor center, ask one of the rangers. In fact, if you come into the visitor center, you're often going to see someone not with the National Park Service patch, a staff member, but you may encounter one of our volunteers, and they can certainly tell you. We also have a website, the park website, that you can look on, support your park, and the volunteer opportunities are actually described, and the procedure for volunteering is spelled out there. And then we also recruit nationally through the website volunteer.gov. And we're fortunate to have not only volunteers from the local community, but volunteers who travel here from all over the country and volunteer with us for short periods of time before they move on and volunteer in another national park.
Okay. The park is really, the National Park Service is a complex entity in itself. Everyone says, oh, park ranger, you're out planting trees. But there's so many, it's a multifaceted environment. What types of positions does the park employ?
Yeah, with 401 national parks throughout America in all 50 states and some U.S. territories, and a workforce of over 20,000 professionals, there are actually 16 career pathways within the National Park Service. So aside from park rangers or park historians that lead the programs, there are a lot of folks doing other types of jobs. Obviously, we have facilities management, we have buildings, roads, trails to maintain, and so our maintenance crew, with all the skills they bring to the table, that's a whole nother segment and function of the park that employs a lot of different skill sets. We also have a business track, so folks with accounting backgrounds and business administration are sought out. We have also law enforcement programs, so certainly folks with law enforcement training have career opportunities in the National Park Service. And you mentioned the monuments. Of course, there are 1,400 monuments, markers, plaques, and those original artifacts inside the museum exhibit in the visitor center. All of those historic objects require a specialized knowledge of how to take care of them and maintain and preserve them for future generations. So historic preservationists and curators and you know, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Biologists, there's many different career opportunities within the National Park Service.
We could film a whole segment just on education and opportunities within the Park Service. And we'll talk a little in a few minutes about an upcoming wonderful event for the National Park Service. But right here at home, you have a program that I did not even realize exists, a call to arms, and this is for a junior park ranger.
Right. When my family was taking me to national parks, I don't know how many programs like this existed, but now virtually all national parks have opportunities for youth while they're experiencing the park to earn a junior ranger badge. And there's typically an activity book like this one. You can pick up this activity book again at the visitor center, and while families are enjoying the park, the children work through the activity book, and as they learn about the park and experience the park and complete the activities, they can come back to the visitor center at the end of their visit, get sworn in as a new junior ranger, get their certificate and badge. And it's a fun way to earn something while you learn something.
I love it. I love earn while you learn. I love that. And I perused the book and went through this, and I know it focuses on grades 3 through 8, but I want to do this as well. It looked like so much fun, and I learned things going through the book that I didn't know yet, and I've lived here all my life. And talk about cool, because all the kids are collecting cards, trading cards. You guys have your own trading cards. Who knew?
Right, right. And this is a program that started at the beginning of the 4-year commemorative period for the American Civil War, 2011 to 2015. And almost all the Civil War battlefield parks across America have participated in this program. And so, you know, for example, you know, this talks about one of those 1,400 monuments in the park. And aside from a picture, on the back is a brief description of what that monument is telling us, what it means, how it represents the sacrifices of soldiers south and north. And then to learn more, again, there's a link to the park website. So it's a quick snapshot to learn a tiny part of what is a much larger story.
Isn't it great how the internet has just opened up educational opportunities, and children love learning from the internet, researching, finding these things. So the Park Service has came full throttle forward and provided edutainment for all ages. I'm loving that. Speaking of, over our shoulders, that gorgeous visitor center, newly remodeled, featuring a beautiful facade in the front, in the back, history, a museum, and a wonderful new movie that lasts approximately 26 minutes.
Sounds right.
Earlier this summer, I brought my 9-year-old nephew, 12-year-old niece, my 18-year-old son, and my 26-year-old daughter here. From 9 to 26, they were all enthralled. They didn't move, and the 9-year-old, he sat still for nothing. I couldn't believe. Every one of my children focused on that movie, did not move. And then after the movie, we went into the park, and although they were raised around here primarily, it was like they saw the monuments in the park for the first time, pointing out, hey, there's that, hey. It was amazing. What went into the creation of all this new and wonderful exhibits, movies that you have now?
Yeah, the power of that film is contained in the individual human stories. A lot of research went into developing that film. And you're right, if you look at a monument and you see a regiment, it's hard sometimes to connect on a human level without knowing some of the individual stories. And so in that film, which debuted last year during the 150th anniversary, the park staff worked to bring out some of the original diaries and letters of soldiers who fought on both sides. And so there's a personal connection to a real soldier being portrayed as that film is told. And like any story of national significance, you know, it boils down to individual Americans who were fighting for whatever causes that were important to them. And so we can connect as people to those struggles that our ancestors experienced, and learn about how to face the struggles that we have today as we continue this great experiment called American democracy.
I love it. I love it. Students will look at me, why do I need to learn this? It happened way back then. Because it prepares us to handle many of the struggles that we will encounter in the future. You're exactly right, Brad. Wonderful opportunity for everyone. Now, the park is close. Fort Oglethorpe right there. In fact, I can see into Fort Oglethorpe from where we're sitting now. We have wonderful resource right here in the back pocket of Fort Oglethorpe, close to everyone. And thank you so much for opening the park and wanting to join us and work together with our relationship. What does the park offer Fort Oglethorpe?
Well, Fort Oglethorpe's the gateway to Chickamauga battlefield. You know, you think about folks traveling on Interstate 75, getting off on Battlefield Parkway, following the signs, you know, through Fort Oglethorpe and entering the national park. There's history in Fort Oglethorpe that's deeply connected with the history of the battlefield. We're all in this together, and certainly the visitors who are coming to Chickamauga battlefield, and in total last year 906,000 visitors came to this national park. They, aside from experiencing the battlefield, spent money outside the park. And in fact, they spent $55 million in Fort Oglethorpe Catoosa County, Walker County, Chattanooga area, that is a huge return on investment. Our operating budget here is a little over $3 million. So you think about, the American taxpayer investing $1, and for every $1, $16 are returned to the local economy. That $55 million in visitor spending out in the communities surrounding the park supported 771 private sector jobs.
Wow, those are impressive statistics. So I'll tell our viewers at home, please invite all your friends and family from local and from far to come into the park, visit this wonderful natural resource that we have right here in our own back door. Jim, we talked a little bit about some other things that you wanted to promote, the people who help, Friends of the Park.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Friends of the Park. How can we get involved? What do they do?
They, again, are our philanthropic partners, so they help raise private money to augment the base budget that we get through the federal government. And the monuments are a great example. Earlier this year, a school teacher from Ohio noticed that one of the monuments in the park was damaged. And he said, what can I do to help? And so he contacted the Friends of the Park, and his classroom of students up in Ohio decided to raise $5,000, and they donated that money to the Friends of the Park, and then the Friends of the Park worked with the National Park Service to repair and restore that monument. That's a perfect example of how the Friends of the Park work with the National Park Service and the community at large to bring additional resources to protect the monuments and other important assets of the park.
Wow. And I've met Miss Patrice. She's very passionate about the park. So it's a great organization to explore a possibility for you. So if people would like to become involved with Friends of the Park, how could they do so?
Well, they have a website as well, and looking for the brochure right now. There they are. So Friends of the Park, and their website is Friends of CHCH for Chickamauga, Chattanooga.org. And so that's it right there.
Right.
And this brochure actually shows other ways that the Friends have supported the National Park Service here. Certainly the Lytle Monument restoration that you might recall, that was another big effort. Again, helping with trails and helping us recruit volunteers. There's so many ways that the Friends help preserve and provide visitor experience opportunities for this national park.
It's a wonderful organization, and if you ever get the opportunity to hear Miss Patrice talk about Friends of the Park and their work, take that opportunity because she is enthralling. Thank you for all you do, but we're going to have an opportunity to really thank rangers and the National Park Service throughout our country coming up very shortly. What's coming up that's such a great opportunity for everyone?
Well, we love anniversaries, and 2 years from now there'll be another significant anniversary. That is of the National Park Service itself. In 1916, the people of the United States decided we needed to create the National Park Service so that we could preserve these very special places for this generation and future generations. So in 2 years, we'll be celebrating our 100th anniversary. And rather than simply celebrating 100 years of stewardship, we're going to use that opportunity to say, again, what do we want to do in the next 100 years? And so this will be an opportunity, again, to engage the American public, remind all citizens that they own these places. They are for the people, for all people, to enjoy learn from, draw inspiration from, and again, be involved, whether that's walking the trails, following a ranger, volunteering, joining a friends group. And I'm so thankful that Fort Oglethorpe is interested in engaging with us, because this is an opportunity for all of us to work together for the betterment of all citizens.
Amen. Superintendent Bennett, thank you for joining me today. This has been a wonderful, wonderful segment. I know everyone's going to enjoy watching and becoming a part of. And I do hope that they will visit you at the Visitor Center and tell them how much you enjoyed seeing this segment and exploring your own national park. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, Paula.
Look forward to working with you in the future, and Fort Oglethorpe's proud to have you.
Thank you.
This is Council Lady Paula Stinnett, encouraging you to enjoy the beautiful natural resource located right here in our own back door. And as always, it's a beautiful day in Fort Oglethorpe.